วัสดีค่ะท่านอาจารย์
สวัสดีค่ะหม่อมค่ะหม่อมสบายดีนะคะ
สบายดี
ครับอา
ค่ะ
จารย์ครับ
สวัสดีครับท่านอาจารย์
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดี
เรี
ค่ะ
ยน
ท่านอาจารย์
สวัสดีค่ะ
Swadika, everyone. Okay, I think we can start. Jonathan's just joining. And does anyone have anything they would like to start with? Carmen, Yotika, anyone? Anything to continue from last time? How about you, Betty? Do you have anything you would like to bring up?
Yes, because three of us have been working on editing the perfections. And as I read the perfections, I was really happy to see that in my own life, so many of these thought processes arose with that they were actually part of developing the perfections. Um, uh, for instance, being patient, or and how the thought process for that would lead to patience with understanding. And so I was very pleased, having to edit that and see we have a bit more, let's put it this way, have a bit more understanding how the perfections are developed and their importance. And I was wondering maybe we could discuss something about um, developing the perfections and the importance of it, and how the perfections are so interrelated. For instance, let's say patience, for instance, might be a condition for developing other of the perfections as well. So something like that.
I'll just add one comment first. I think that usually when we think about patience, we think about it in a conventional sense, like patience to keep quiet when someone is angry, patience to stand politely in the queue and let other people be served first, patience to when one's stuck in a traffic jam. We think of it as in a very conventional way, but the Kanti parami that the Buddha is talking about has to be patience now with whatever is conditioned at this moment, patience with whatever visible object is seen, patience with whatever sound is heard, patience with anger arising, lobha, whatever is conditioned has to be that way. It can't be any other way. And understanding has to develop to understand just what appears now, not what we would like to appear now. So without patience developing with understanding, there is always the wishing to experience a different object or impatience with what has fallen away already. So it comes back to the understanding of reality now. That's why without right understanding of reality, there cannot be even the beginning of the development of Kanti Parami. So it's quite subtle, much more subtle than we're used to thinking, not like conventional patience at all as we're used to thinking of it.
Yeah, you explain it far better than I can. but that's true. It always comes back to understanding what is appearing now.
And we learn that virya, it's Cetasika is patience, but it can be kusala or akusala. So there can be akusala patience, for example, when queuing for something one really likes or wants to taste or see, or kusala patience at moments of kindness, at moments of generosity. But as a parami, then it has to be the patience that has developed with right understanding, that has to be firm enough to condition understanding of what appears now, patience with what is conditioned now.
How is virya a patient when it's basically translated as energy? How is that related to patience?
I think there are different aspects of virya. So sometimes courage, sometimes effort, energy, but also patience is virya cetasika. It's interesting. Let's see if Jan would like to add more on these topics.
I'd like to see how virya is patience. I didn't know that, and I want to understand how that goes together.
In truth, Viriya arises with almost every citta. Unknown that there is Viriya as well, at moment of stretching the hand or thinking, Viriya is always there. Otherwise, no Viriya, just to condition that very moment. That's why the seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching arises without any Viriya at all. Kamma is enough to condition moment to just seeing or just hearing, only that. And the other moment, Viriya is there. That's why we learn to understand that no matter one feel like one is so very lazy, Viriya is there too. Viriya to be lazy. Otherwise, lazy cannot be there. The subtle moment of all kinds of reality, conditioned, unknown, until it's known gradually, little by little, when it's there strong enough. But when it's not strong, no one knows that Virya is there almost each moment in life. So now there can be some hints of Virya doing something, see, even to do is it has to be Virya too. Just open one's eyes, there is Virya too, to open, see, almost every moment in life. That's why Virya does not arise with how many ahetuka citta? 16. Virya does not arise with 16 ahetuka citta. 10 seeing, sampatichana, santirana, panchatwara vachana. All other citta must have Virya arising together. That's why begin to understand no matter what moment in life, Virya is there unknown, and other Cetasikas, other realities are there too, unknown, until its characteristic appears. Like pleasant feeling is there, but indifferent feeling unknown again. That's why we learn to understand life as each moment is conditioned moment and fall away. Tugga Ariya Satya until it can be directly experienced, the moment of arising and falling away. It tumble down the idea of self gradually, little by little.
Um, but I still don't get how it relates to patience.
When it's a moment when you try very hard, trying is viriya, very hard is khanti, patience, different degrees.
A different degree of patience than Kanti.
Different degrees of viriya. Just stretch your hand, no patience, but viriya is there.
Oh, Virya, of course, would be. Oh, yeah, it would be with arising with every
Almost
almost
every chitta.
with almost every Jatasika. Okay, but how does it relate to Kanti?
When you put on your shoes, very hard, not just easily,
Ah, okay.
different level.
Okay. I get it. So, in other words, for instance, if we're doing something, say, that is a little bit difficult to do, say, like you give the example of putting on your shoes, especially for us elderly people, there's the patience to try to complete the task without becoming frustrated about it.
When you give up, no patience, but there is viriya.
Yeah.
And whether one's frustrated while doing it or not, whether it's kusala or akusala, mostly it's akusala, but one persists because one needs the shoes put on. So it's still it's patience, it's strong virya at those moments, patience to perform the task in spite of the dosa, for example. So that's why it's kusala or akusala. When it's strong, we read about kanti parami. So the perfection when it's kusala with understanding is kanti, even though actually it's viriya cetasika.
So it's only Kanti and there's understanding. Okay.
When it's strong.
Mm.
For example, someone may join the discussion even though they're feeling sick and really want to just lie down and rest, but there's patience to listen and join and consider the Dhamma. So the understanding conditions the patience to persist or to get up in the middle of the night to listen or something like this. Kanti parami, just at the kusala moments.
Okay.
Because one may get up out of attachment, so different moments. So it's just for a moment only, not the conventional patience.
Okay. Mm. Thank you.
But as regards virya and patience, Betty, that applies whether it's kusala or akusala. Yeah.
A good point, John. Yeah.
Sarah, I remember you saying that even wholesomeness can be the wrong path. And I also read this in the Tipitaka, a sutta about the middle way, 7 pairs of extremes. And if I quote the last one, by way of all unwholesome volitional formations, akusala sankhara one sinks. By way of all wholesome, mundane volitional formations, kusala sankhara, one gets swept away. So can you perhaps explain how wholesome reality can sweep us away from the right path?
In brief, even wholesome states, even metta, even generosity leads to more building of the bricks in samsara, the continues rounds, more karma, more results. Only the development of satipatthana leads out of the continuation of samsara, leading to enlightenment. So only the development of satipatthana in the deepest sense is the right path, the right way. In one of the suttas in the commentary, it talks about how even jhana, the greatest mundane kusala, in this sense is the wrong path, because it just leads to the continuation of life in samsara. So the only middle way, the only right path is the development of understanding of realities.
So
And
even
in
this
particular,
moment,
the direct understanding.
so if this moment is wholesome moment, it is the wrong path if there is forgetfulness of satipatthana, or the development of awareness of different realities, because you don't get anywhere. You just stay in the cycle of birth and death.
Kusala
So
is kusala, much better than akusala, but only the understanding of reality as it is, like understanding of dosa now, more precious than a moment of great generosity or even jhana, because it's only the understanding of Dhamma as anatta that will lead out of the cycle.
Clarify that.
right.
Mundane kusala is the wrong path if it's taken to be a path. But if it's just
Okay.
mundane kusala, it can't be considered wrong path as such, because it's not, unless it's taken to be a path.
Right, okay, yeah.
There's
So
nothing
in other
wrong with mundane kusala. Yeah. But it's
yeah,
not the path out. It's
it
not
isn't
the path.
out. So
It's not either the right path or the wrong path. It's just at that moment of ordinary mundane kusala.
right. But
It's
we
just
can
that.
say, can we not, or you have said, or Sarah said, that we are either right now on the right path or the wrong path. You're either going in the right direction
May
or
not
the
be
wrong
on a
direction.
path.
I don't think
I don't think I would say we are
on the path.
on the path, but if it's not the moment of right understanding of Dhamma, it cannot be said to be the right path as taught by the Buddha, the path that leads out of
Right.
samsara. And it does say, like in that commentary that I mentioned, that other kinds of kusala, even jhana, can in this sense be referred to as wrong
Yeah.
path, even though it's great kusala. Yeah.
But if there's
Again,
no
let's let yes.
if there's no right path now, if there's no sati now, no development now, then there must be ignorance and attachment, which is the wrong path. So
Right.
this moment is either kusala, wholesome or unwholesome. If it's unwholesome, isn't it the wrong path? Can we say that that's the wrong path?
We can certainly say, if one's never heard the Buddha's teachings, impossible to develop the right path. So whatever other path one thinks of cannot be the right path, because it is all taken for, even that great kusala, even the great jhanas are taken for my kusala, my development. So it's not the understanding of Dhamma as Dhamma.
I see this as being
So are we not sinking then when there is no consideration of the teachings at whatever level? Just for a
Right. Just
moment.
more and more ignorance, more and more
Yeah.
attachment being accumulated, more
So that
clinging to the
is
idea of self.
so that is sinking. It's probably not a path, but it's still sinking in a way, isn't it?
I see this as being related to the right view and wrong view, right understanding, wrong understanding, because the wrong path takes one further away from the goal. One thinks
Right.
one is going towards the goal, but it's actually taking one further away from the goal.
Yeah.
So in that respect, just ordinary kusala and the kusala, as I see it, is neither right nor wrong path. But I may,
Well, I suppose, as you
Ajahn
said,
may
it's not a
want
path,
to.
is it? It's a path if you take it to be the right to take it to be the right path, even wholesomeness.
If you
Yeah.
take it to be related to, something to do with understanding the way things are.
In a sense, all unwholesomeness is bad. So you are kind of at the moment of unwholesomeness, you are sinking in a way, aren't you?
There are
Accumulating more.
different kinds of badness, though.
Yeah.
When you say all kusala is bad, yes, but the worst kind of badness is the wrong path.
Yes. Yeah.
I think
Okay.
I think, Alan, there are different degrees, different levels of talking about the right and the wrong path. We can talk about when there's right understanding of Dhamma, it's a right path, and when it's wrong understanding of Dhamma, it's a wrong path. But if we go deeper and deeper, then actually, in the deepest sense, the Buddha said that whatever leads to the accumulation of bricks in samsara, so any kusala or any akusala, which is not the development of satipatthana and vipassana, is in the deepest sense the wrong path. So it's a deeper, different meaning. But perhaps Ajahn would like to add more.
Can we just say when it's not right understanding, it's not the path?
Yes. Yeah. So not, yes. So it's not wrong, but it's not the path. So it's not wrong to have kindness, but it's not the path unless that kindness is understood as no one or nobody.
Without
Certainly,
understanding or with understanding?
Yes, it has to be, if there is understanding of kindness, when there is kindness, then that's the path. If there is kindness and no understanding of kindness, then that's not the path, but it's not the wrong path. But it's not a path. It's not the path. Is that correct?
We're not
There's,
hearing you, Ajahn. Sorry.
when there's no understanding, can it be the path?
No. No.
There can be kindness, but no understanding of kindness.
Yes.
And it depends on different degrees of understanding too, whether it's the path or not.
mhm. And I think, Alan, that's what Jonathan was alluding to. I don't think it's a simple matter of right path, wrong path. In some respects, yes, of course, they're completely different, but it's quite nuanced, as Jonathan was alluding to. I don't think it's easy to tease out in all situations and all times. And Ajahn has just sort of alluded to that point. I think we need to consider the matter really carefully.
I suppose the the point is that to be wary of the fact that wholesome reality, kusala citta, kusala cetasika, are not the path itself. So that people do we sink, not get anywhere, even with wholesome reality. That it's
Yeah.
not enough.
And as Sarah was mentioning, mundane kusala is a condition for further existence, is building the bricks. So that's to be borne in mind.
Yes, and I suppose that ties in with a question that Nina put some while back, that the purpose isn't to be a better person, but the purpose is to understand that each reality as it is, to understand conditioned realities, no matter it is wholesome or unwholesome. So if we have this idea of being a better person, that's already kind of sinking in a way. That's not the I suppose the end point then is that to escape from samsara.
And if there's an idea of I escaping or I on the path or someone on the right or wrong path, then it's all the wrong path for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But I remember we had a discussion in Bangkok, and when we were talking about this topic deeper and deeper, and Ajahn was stressing that in the end, metta, when there's no understanding, can be said to be the wrong path, in that it's not the right path. So what is not the right path is wrong, even though there may not be any wrong understanding. But it depends on the degree, the level we're talking about, the degree of understanding. But when one appreciates that no matter how much great metta, no matter how much great jhana arises, it can never be the right path at those moments. So this is why it mentions that point in the commentary about
Right.
even jhana
And
can be
also,
said to be the wrong path, but this can be misunderstood. It's not
yeah.
akusala, it's great kusala, but not the right path. And the right path is just for a moment.
Yes, so in actual fact, nobody can be on the right path most of the time, because each moment is conditioned by accumulation. So it's there's no choice. There's no choice but to be not on the path most of the time, because
I think we have to get out of the habit of thinking of someone on the path or someone developing right understanding, because no one there, no one to be on a path, even for a moment, no one at all, just different accumulations, different moments of right understanding, wrong understanding, metta, dosa, just for a moment only, no one there who's anywhere.
Yes. So off track again for moments, many moments, because of that accumulation is so deeply rooted. This idea of I am escaping from samsara is the wrong
I'm wrong path.
Yeah.
I'm developing more metta in daily life, or now I have a little more understanding of what's being said. Wrong path all the time.
Yes, yeah.
I dare say, please excuse me, Alan and Sarah and Jonathan and Tanajan, is that the obverse of that is that Panya doesn't arise very often. It doesn't, well, it most certainly doesn't arise with every kusala citta. So sort of to give support in rounding that out for my, I dare say with all humility, fledgling understanding that is developing. Maya again, the self.
Yes, for sure.
Just when there are conditions, and it doesn't matter whether it's a lot or a little, because it's just the way it is by conditions, not anyone's panya. Just when there are conditions, panya arises and gone instantly. It's also dukkha because it's gone immediately.
Thank you, Sarah.
Is it right understanding to think that the very first thing is the understanding of no self?
And for there to be the understanding, even a little of non-self, there has to be the understanding of what Dhamma is, because it's not just, oh, there is no self, but what is no self? If there is no understanding of hardness now that is touched, how can the hardness be understood as anatta? How can seeing be understood as anatta if there's no understanding of seeing? So this is why we discuss a lot about different dhammas that are apparent in daily life, because without the understanding of the dhammas as dhammas, one at a time, there can never be any understanding of Dhamma as anatta. If one thinks of, one sees different friends on the screen and that they are anatta, it doesn't mean anything. So there has to be the understanding that what is seen is just what is visible in order to appreciate that no one there, nothing there, that the visible object is anatta.
But whatever I do, let's say whatever I do on good things, it all depends if it is Dhamma, when I have the understanding of it's not me who is doing it, it's not I. Do you
So
understand me?
I think as Eve said, the moments of panya are very little and just begin to develop. So even when we say, oh, it's not me who does the good things, who knows whether there's any panya when saying that? It may just be repeating what we've heard, or there may be some true understanding that no one there, no one to be found, just moments of kindness, moments of generosity, each one gone. So only Panya can know whether it's kusala at that moment, whether there's understanding at that moment, or even now. No one else knows when they see you doing good deeds. No one knows what are moments of kusala, what are moments of understanding. It's only Panya that can know.
Yes, well, it could be conceit, pride, when we think it's me who's doing something, or aren't I good, that sort of thing. So we can't generalize just by the words, I or me, what kind of agusala it is. Different kinds of agusala have to be known by their characteristics. So there's attachment, conceit, or wrong view, the possibilities generally. But it's not necessary for us to know what kind of agusala might be arising at the present moment. It may not be possible to distinguish different kinds of agusala. And really, as far as developing the understanding of conditioned realities is concerned, it doesn't matter, because the reality in question is citta, and Jedasika, or Root, and possibly Rupa sometimes. So it's those realities that are to be understood. But it's hard to shake. It's hard to shake the idea that it's important to know whether the present moment is kusala or akusala, and if so, what kind of kusala or akusala. I think we're very caught up in that, but as one considers it further, one can see that the important thing is the understanding of the kind of reality. And seeing all conditioned dhammas have the same characteristic, the same basic characteristics, regardless of their individual unique characteristic.
You mean that they are conditioned?
They are conditioned, exactly. And they are not self, and they are unsatisfactory. They don't have any intrinsic merit. They are not a refuge. Yeah.
Usually there's a lot of
clinging
to kusala, one's kusala, and one would like to have more, but one doesn't realize how much clinging is there. But that's how it is. There can be understanding of the clinging to just the way it's conditioned to be. Maeve, I think at the end of the session last time, we said it's your turn today. Do you have anything you would like to bring up today, or any comments you'd like to make on anything discussed so far?
Thank you, Sarah. Well, I do follow the discussions, often not by Zoom, but because I travel around a bit, and that I usually follow on the phone. And there's always things that come up, and I think, oh, I'll wait until that's relevant. But maybe look, this is just a small query about, I think on Monday there was some discussion around about mana, and it was in relation to let me think. I think it was about how mana was not always present when Lopa arose. So there could be attachment without mana. And there were a couple of things that I wondered about. One was that it seems that the nature of mana, which is around that deeply held interest in the self, and the threefold aspects of thinking about being better than or less than or equal to. Well, firstly, it seems that wherever the idea of self is there, that there almost has to be mana. So I probably need some clarity around that, but also with the one about the idea of being equal to. I don't quite see where the conceit resides in that thinking. I suppose I tended to think that if if we thought of other people as being equal with us and us with them, that it was actually quite a useful and not a harmful state of mind. So if you'd like to make some comments about that, please.
I'll make a couple of quick comments and then pass it to, I think Jonathan's ready to say something, or Jan. When we think of someone being equal, being the equal interest in the Dhamma or equal this or that, isn't it still thinking of one's own importance, still comparing with the other at that point? Like in Yotika's example about giving, it can just be clinging to the giving, giving that one did this morning, or there can be clinging with conceit, my giving that was so special, or comparing with another, or we both gave the same amount to the temple. It's still all my importance.
Yeah.
Anytime, so common.
It certainly is in terms of, you know, better or less than, but the equal to doesn't, I find it harder to see where that is about self-importance.
What about I could do that too, or I know that too?
Yeah.
Or yes.
I guess I'm thinking, maybe I'm thinking more along the lines of that a condition for compassion to arise is to have a sense of the other being of equal worth. As you know, that compassion is not about feeling sorry for someone or kind of helping. It's recognizing that intrinsically, as a sentient being, they are worthy of our respect and generosity, or whatever it is that is being prompted. So I'm sort of thinking of it more along those lines, and so that's why I'm confused about being falling into the mana category. So it's a
But
little
in the
bit
case of
what you suggested, Jonathan.
in the case of compassion, it's seeing the suffering of the other.
Yes.
Yeah. So in the case of mana, it is thinking of one's self-importance, waving one's own flag. So as I said, the example of wanting to be, or thinking of oneself as being as capable as another person, or I've been there too, if they're talking about a place they've been, or always waving one's own flag. Yes, I've had that situation too. I can say something about that and that kind of thing.
Okay.
No kusala involved, of course. No consideration of the other, no actual consideration of the other being, but just wanting to chip in with one's own bit to show that one's up to the level of the other person in some way.
I think they're very nuanced examples, Jonathan. I think it's very helpful. And I suspect it might be a little bit clearer for you, Maeve. sometimes we have these words, we have a translation, mana, which means to measure. So we're talking through it now to try and get a better idea of just what that level of a kusala is. And I don't think, as was been alluded to before, we mightn't be totally clear about it. And I think that's okay too, to kind of wrestle with it, if you like, at one level, which usually will involve a lot of akusala, different types of attachment, and aversion also. However, it's a really good question to consider carefully, and it'll always be quite nuanced, and I don't think our thinking mind will ever put our finger on it. It's only with development of understanding that it'll become clearer. And I suppose that's always the kind of a default mode that we go back to, but I think it's a helpful one to remember.
Yes, thank you, Sonara. There was another part of the question, though, about because there is so much, the nature of mana is to give so much importance to the self. So it's puzzling that it doesn't, that it's not kind of always there in a sense.
Yes, I was going to come to that. It's actually giving more importance to the individual rather than to the idea of a self, which is something else altogether. So for the stream enterer who has eradicated all wrong view of self, there can still be conceit about the individual and in comparison to others.
So the actual deep understanding of anatta is not, that hasn't been reached.
The deep understanding of anatta does not eradicate conceit, does not help in the eradication of conceit, because it's really, there's still an individual being, even though there's no mistake that it's just conditioned, the being is just different conditioned realities. But of course, each being is a different stream of Citta Cetasika and associated rupas. So even if there's no misunderstanding about that aspect, there is still the tendency to make the comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, what do you mean by the difference between an individual and a self?
Well, in reality, even we understand there's no self, but there are individual beings. One being is different from another being. That's one stream of Citta Cetasika Rupa is different from another stream of Citta Cetasika Rupa. So that's what I mean by an individual.
Oh, okay.
One stream of Citta Cetasika Rupa.
I mean, that's still, whether, that's still thinking in terms of a self, whether you think
not necessarily.
Christian sense.
It's thinking in terms of different beings.
Oh, you mean just the idea of thinking of different persons? It's still thinking in terms of self.
We can say that being or individual is just a label for when understanding has been developed and there's no longer the idea of a self, there is still the idea of different individuals, different beings.
Well, yes, but then we can say that the Buddha certainly could differentiate between different beings and always did. Even up to his death, he talked about this person, that person, whatever. So I'm not sure. I mean, it's still thinking about a self. I mean, if you want to use
What's your definition? What's your definition of a self, Betty?
just what you're saying, the idea that there is that this is not just Chitta, Cetasika, and Rupa arising and falling away, that there's something permanent here, like a soul. That's the idea of self. That there's a soul or something that exists after normal, what do you call it, contemporary, regular understanding of death. But to me, so that by the fact that there's a recognition of other individuals, I'm not sure that automatically holds conceit, because there's no comparison necessarily all the time.
Well, that's a different question. There doesn't have to be conceit just because there's a recognition of different individuals.
Oh, I see. So you're saying, okay. So you're saying that just recognizing other people is not mana. Okay, that's what I wanted to clear up, because it seems to me that's adding to the definition if we say that just recognizing other people is mana. Okay, I thought so. Now I understand what you're saying.
Thanks, Betty.
And in Maeve's example, for example, considering others with compassion, like when someone's angry, actually there can be understanding. There is no someone, there's no individual, but the cheaters and Cetasikas that are taken, that we call someone, there can be understanding that this is common to everyone. Anger arises by conditions. So the understanding can be a condition for compassion, appreciating it's common.
And still
so no mana at those moments. So different moments. So even now there can be moments of mana, moments of compassion, moments of kindness without understanding. So it all comes down to the moment, not the words or the terms, but understanding what is there now. As Jonathan said, when it's the flying of one's own banner, oh, let not as much dosa as that one, or this or that, or the same amount, the same issue. It's mana when it's I, and it's about my importance. Not just when it's compassion, no thought of oneself. It's just the consideration for the other.
right.
And thinking in terms, Jonathan, as you said, of streams of consciousness seems to be closer to a kind of an understanding of the conditionality that each stream of consciousness is uniquely conditioned. Is that part of what you're suggesting?
Yes, it is. But of course, the conditionality isn't understood by changing one's way of thinking. But it's generally from everything we've learned and discussed over the years that things become a bit clearer and one is less stuck on the conventional notions, and the way things are in the absolute sense becomes a little clearer, even if one can't put one's finger on the moment when it happened.
Shall we see if Jan has some comments to add to your question or any of the topics?
I think that all dhammas are in daily life, so it can be known. Even we don't use any word at all, it's there. It can be known little by little. For example, if you don't think at all, yesterday I went to the hospital. What is that? When someone say, or I say, yesterday I went to the hospital. What Dhamma? See, Is it mana or it's not mana? Begin to know what moment is mana and what moment is not mana, unknown before. But after hearing about mana, about different realities in daily life, it depends on condition for it to begin to understand just the daily life, but different moment as whether it is mana or no mana at all. That's why, what about yesterday I went to the hospital. Is there mana? What is there? Not me, no one at all. All are dhammas. So, no mana, but I, as Didi, Asava, Didasava, no matter when and what now, even sitting is I. I'm sitting, even we don't say I'm sitting, but the I is there. Until it's known that no matter when or where, Dhammas are there all the time, unknown, until we learn about it to be known. Even just yesterday, I went to the hospital. See, no mana, right? But when it say, it's me, is there mana or no mana? Who can tell? Only that circumstance, that events or that situation is there. And the moment when the word is said, it's me. Can it be mana? Depending on situation in a day. But mana is there unknown, right? Even just it's me or it's mine, me, no one else. Or who are you? And the words can tell whether there is mana or not. When you say to someone with very loud or a little louder tone, what condition that?
Yes.
No consideration. Can it be mana?
Yes.
Yes.
So all dhammas can be known in daily life little by little. The difference between ditthi and mana and lobha arise together. Lobha arises with mana, not together with ditthi. So at moment of ditthi arising with lobha, no mana. But at moment of mana, no ditthi, because it's different. One is that which is very important, no matter it's superior or inferior, but it's important. Even the Arupa Brahma still have mana, no one there at all. But the superiority, I, such moment, see, it depends on what is there by conditions. It can be wrong understanding, titi, or it can be different situation. It's mana, not titi. In daily life, the tone saying to someone can be moment of understanding, superior or inferior or what. Because the ditthi is always there, so very slightly. Asava is very slight, but it's there, unknown, but we know that it's there. And any moment of understanding the reality, it lessens the clinging to the moment as I, little by little. So very little, because there must be the moment of being true to the truth. When it's mana, it's different from titi. And no choice at all. It depends on conditions. Otherwise, it's I again, titi again. So there can be the moment of begin to understand the truth of no matter it is mana or ditti, it's a reality, different realities. So in a day, talking to someone, your friends or your servant or whoever, is there mana or no mana? Kindness is different from mana. Compassion is different from mana. That's why learn to understand what is moment of kusala and what moment is akusala little by little, and learn a little more about what is there at that moment of akusala. At moment of getting angry, see, can there be mana? When we study Dhamma, mana cannot arise with dosa, see. That's why life goes on so very rapidly from moment to moment. Only learn to understand the different moment, to let go wrong understanding, taking everything for something or someone or I, little by little, and no expectation at all. Because each moment of understanding is the path lead to more understanding of what is there right now, as that which experiences the object or that which cannot experience the object. Otherwise, we get worried about the word mana or ditti is there, see? But we learn about what are there are so very subtle realities, but they are all Dhamma experiences that object with attachment or mana or ditti, little by little, different moment at a time, just arise and gone instantly. But learn about it in order to understand little by little about the moment in life, a little more understanding of the truth that all dhammas are conditioned to arise to be just that very moment, rude or polite or whatever, and mana is there or not, can be learned little by little.
Excuse me, Tanajan. Did you just say that mana cannot arise with dosa?
So, yes, who knows if Buddha didn't tell us about the truth? Mana is conditioned by attachment.
Yes.
See?
Yeah.
So,
Even that has to be considered. If there's no attachment to I with mana, can there be moment of feeling mana?
Betty, I think you're thinking that there can be conceit can cause dosa, right? If we are
not certain,
conceited, and
or
so
why can't they arise together? That's what I don't know.
well, they because mana is rooted in loba, but it can condition dosa.
Okay.
So loba can arise on its own or with mana or with ditti, but without loba, no ditti and no mana.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Hmm. So just to be a little bit clear about the difference between mana and asawa, because it seems that is it that it's not possible to be aware of asawa, whereas is it possible to be aware of mana?
It's a lopa now. See? What level? Very, very slight or very strong or strong enough to be understood. 3 moments after seeing, aswa is there. Who knows? But when it's strong enough, as nivarana or kilesa, it can be known. That's
if
why
it's
the slightest is anosya. It does not arise at all, but it conditions any moment of experiencing the object of this world through the six doorways. And after seeing, see, it's this very slight attachment to being, bhavasava, unknown, and tithasava, no one there. And that moment is the moment of experiencing, even a moment so slight, but it's there. Titi, I, Tithasava, and Avijjasava, see, is there. The four aswas, so very slight, very deep too. Does it appear? And when it appears, what is its object? And what level of lopa at moment of the object appearing? Not as asva. Stronger than that, when there is a feeling or the kind of I like it, or it's pleasant, it's known, not asva. So it is the other group of akusala cetasika, 9 groups of akusala dhamma. Even kilesa is stronger than asava is not known. See, and what about asava? After seeing 3 moments, who knows? After hearing 3 moments, it's there. That's why now, while we are speaking, and there is seeing, it's the asava. Just learn to let go the idea of self or something, because what is there is only the shadow or the nimitta, the shape and form of what is there arising and falling away. Dukkha, Ariya Satya, unknown until it is learned little by little to realize the truth. Otherwise, no way to let go the idea of self at all. And this is the way to understand the subtlety of all dharmas in daily life, real life.
When we talk about this, Ajahn, it becomes, clearer about how pervasive the idea of self is, in all different shapes and forms and experiences.
And the path is the moment of understanding the subtlety of Dhamma.
so there also has to be the letting go of the idea that there isn't any ditthi now, isn't any mana now, isn't any lobha now, because it's there so quickly after seeing and hearing, quite unknown, but they're just passing dhammas, not my lobha, my mana, my ditthi. But it's good to appreciate it's there even now at these times, even during Dhamma discussions. Otherwise, people have the idea that they're discussing Dhamma and it's all kusala, or they're helping their friend in a generous manner and it's all kusala. But what about the mana? What about the ditthi at any time, any place?
Thank you. Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you, Ajahn.
but the asava can't be known. We understand that these unwholesome mental factors are arising, they're oozing, but there's no point in trying to find them because they are so weak. By definition, they can't be known. But there are other realities appearing that can be known.
I just want to mention I'm glad to see some of our Nepalese friends are here, Sohan, Dibya, and I think Priya earlier. I don't know if there are any terms that you're not familiar with, or if any of you have anything you would like to ask about that we've discussed, or anything else. Sohan, are you able to follow what is being discussed? Maybe he's not listening at the moment. Anyway, if anything is not clear, welcome to come in and ask.
สวัสดีค่ะคุณซาร่า
สวัสดีค่ะคุณสุภัสสร
สวัสดีค่ะ
ค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
ค่ะกราบท่านอาจารย์ค่ะค่ะแล้วก็ผู้sorry and others listener okay I heard you discussed about Titi and Mana and for me at the moment I'm not clear about the term Titi. Could you explain further about the term Titi, please?
Yes, usually we can talk about right or wrong understanding, samaditi or micha ditti in Pali. But when ditti is just used on its own, it almost always just refers to wrong view. So if we talk about ditti, or if the Buddha talked about ditti in the suttas, it's referring to wrong understanding, miccha ditti. So he taught there's a right path and a wrong path. So the right path, samaditi, sama, everything. And the wrong path is miccha ditti, miccha everything. But in short, ditti is referring to the wrong path, the wrong understanding.
Yes.
And when Ajahn was just talking about the different kinds of asavas, the very subtle defilements oozing out. So one of these is ditthasava. So this is referring to the asava of ditti, of wrong understanding, showing how even now, so quickly after seeing or hearing, there can be ditthasava, the very subtle wrong understanding, the idea of something seen, someone seen, long before there's any thinking in words about colors, shapes, sizes, and people, but just that impression of something so quickly after seeing or hearing.
Therefore, it seems that I have samadhi at the moment. Am I correct? Because as me.
Can anyone have it? That's the point.
Well, a point is in reality of talking about try not to talking about self. I mean, in reality, I understand that is samadhi at the moment. Am I correct?
So even it doesn't matter what the words we use are, but even when there is the idea of, oh, now it's samadhi, who can say there may be moments of miccha-ditti at that moment, taking it for my samadhi, maybe mana, more understanding than another or before. Only Panya can know at this very moment. But the Michaditi creeps in so quickly, and the Samaditi is just for a moment and then gone, followed by clinging. What about the clinging to it being sama?
And Kunsapatson, why do you say there is samaditi now?
Understanding in Dhamma in the right path.
And how do you know there is understanding? Understanding of what?
Understanding that the now is reality in seeing, in hearing, like seeing visible object and hearing sound. Well,
Yes.
I mean, thinking, right? This I'm talking about from my understanding, conventional
Yes.
understanding.
Right, from what one has learned.
Yeah, what I have learned.
Yes.
But
So,
quite sure. Oh, I couldn't say quite sure. I believe that Panya may develop. I mean, slightly. But I'm not sure. Right? I'm not confident.
right.
I
Yeah, I
believe.
think that's the situation, that we can't be sure unless the characteristic of panya is
right.
clearly apparent. Then we can't be certain whether it is being developed or not. And it can develop so subtly and imperceptibly that it's so we can't really say with confidence that right understanding is being developed at the present moment, but it's possible that it is, but it can only be known for sure when the characteristic of right understanding appears. Yeah.
ค่ะขอบพระคุณค่ะ
And as Sarah was pointing out, even if there is some moments of right understanding, there are also moments of akusala in between, like conceit and doubt and
right.
thinking about other things and so on and so forth.
Right. And also mana
Yes.
in terms of inferior, not superior.
Well, depends if there's
just Dhamma, just reality arrive, right? Yeah, not self. It's I don't know. It's where I use this term quite often. It's pop up, and it's self. It's not. It's not. Of course, it's self. It's not panya. Just learning from what I have heard, and panya. Slowly understand that is reality, not self. That's just I can explain from what I understood.
What can be directly known is what appears at the present moment. And hopefully there will be some understanding being developed. But it's really all about considering the explanation that the Buddha gave of the present moment, and as explained helpfully by Ajahn, different realities rising and falling away, the experiences through the sense doors and the thinking about what has been experienced through the sense doors. So what we take for seeing at the present moment is probably just thinking about the visible object.
Let's move to other topic. Thank you very much.
Good to hear from you, Kunsapatson. I think the path is so much more subtle than one is used to thinking. So as soon as there's an idea of a situation, now I'm in a Dharma discussion, or I'm saying seeing sees what is visible, therefore there is panya. It's not Panya at that moment, because one's thinking of the situation. It's
yeah.
not just the understanding of what appears now.
Yeah.
And when it's the understanding of what appears now, no doubt, no question about it. But when one thinks about it and wonders, and is there mana now? Is there ditthi now? Even then, doubt can be understood, thinking can be understood, just different dharmas, but none of them belonging to me, not my right understanding or wrong understanding or me on the path, just different dharmas. And it's only what is now, as Jonathan said, only what appears now that can be understood. And it doesn't matter whether that is mana or loba or seeing or hearing, whatever appears by conditions.
ค่ะอนุโมทนาค่ะ
I have still the question, when is it Dhamma? It is Dhamma when it is it Dhamma when it is Kusala?
When
Is
is it not Dharma? Is seeing Dharma,
Is
hearing
it
Dharma now, thinking Dharma now?
there's Adhamma, people call about Adhamma and Dhamma.
Well, I
Ad,
think that was what Ajahn was explaining the other day, and she may add more. So if we talk about Dharma, what is Dharma is whatever is real. But when specifically talking about Dharma and Adharma, then it's referring to Kusala, Kusala Dharma and Akusala Dharma. So it's particular context of talking about Dharma and Adharma, just referring to Kusala and Akusala Dharmas.
it is not about form, not about. I got the question that he said it is Adhamma, you are not, when you are not meditating, when you do it in another way. I thought about immediately on this discussion, and I thought this is Dhamma.
So I think it's back to what we were just saying in the last discussion. When one thinks about a situation like the meditating or the non-meditating or in the city or in the country, it's no understanding about dhammas at all. So if we're talking about kusala and akusala dhammas, it's just for a moment. It's not about a situation. Like one can be shopping in the marketplace, kusala dhammas, moments of kindness, moments of generosity, moments of understanding, also moments of annoyance, moments of mana, moments of lobha, just like now, just like when in the temple, anytime. So one cannot judge by the situation. There has to be the understanding now of what, first of all, what is Dhamma, any reality that is conditioned now, anatta now. And amongst those dhammas, there can be kusala dhammas, akusala dhammas, and avyakata dhammas, those dhammas that are not kusala or akusala. But if anyone has the idea that because one is not meditating, it's a dharma, I think, again, like we discussed last time, what is meditating? Can there be bhavana now? Can there be understanding right now? This is the point. With just a few minutes left, so I'll let Ajahn add a few comments.
Yes, next time.
Yes. What is there now? What is there now?
But to me, it is a question if Dhamma Has to do with form.
Yeah, that's why we don't have to think about other thing else, just that which is there. So what is there now?
Seeing, thinking.
Okay. Is seeing real?
Yes.
Whatever is real is a Dhamma. Whatever is real is Dhamma. That's why Buddha said all Dhammas are anatta,
Yeah.
not self. So whatever is real is a Dhamma. Hearing is real this moment. Hearing is there. It hears. It's a Dhamma,
But
right?
Ajahn, if I think at the same time how good I am seeing,
How can they be? How?
this I,
Before how there's no how, right?
yeah,
So what is how? Thinking, not seeing, not hearing.
me.
What is you? Please find out.
Yeah.
What is you? If there is you, what is you?
This idea.
So seeing is real, so it's not you. Hearing is real. Before hearing, there's no hearing, and then there's hearing by conditions, and then gone. Where's you? No you at all are dhammas, each different dhamma by conditions. Is that true?
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
doubt about dhamma. And then we learn a little more about different aspects of dhamma. But understanding from the very beginning what is real is a dhamma. Why it's real? It has its own characteristic. It appears as it is, but no understanding of the truth of it. So understanding is real or not.
Understanding is real.
So understanding is a dhamma which is not seeing. All are dhammas, different dhammas in a day, from life to life. All are dhammas, beginning to have confidence of what is dhamma. Then we go on learning more about different aspects of dhamma. But it has to be begun very firmly about the truth of it. What is real? Hardness is real. It's a Dhamma. Is the hair real?
At the moment, I do not know if I understand well because I hear is a Dhamma, but it is a Dhamma.
That's why we learn a little more about Dhamma. From now on, there can be considering about Dhamma, whatever is real, can be experienced through the six ways,
Yeah.
one by one.
Yes.
That's right. Have firm confidence from now on. Just whatever is real is Dhamma.
Whatever is real, seeing, hearing, feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Hatred or attachment or whatever is there. Real is Dhamma.
Dhamma. Everything.
And a little more. The Dhamma which is conditioned arises, appear and disappear, or arises and gone instantly. Now seeing is not touching different moments. Little by little, learn about the truth, about Dhamma, because no one, that's why learn about Dhammas, about the truth of Dhamma, not I at all. Without Dhamma, how can there be anyone or anything?
It's good.
Tanajan, I think she was referring to the problem of when we say a Dhamma and a Dhamma. You know, there was
Yes, yes, but we have to begin from the very beginning. So first,
I
to
understand.
understand more about it. But if there's no understanding of Dhamma as all are Dhammas when they are real, how can there be the understanding of Dhamma and Adhamma later? So we learn just one word at a time. Now, firm confidence of Dhamma. What is real is there. It appears by different characteristics because they are different. Sound is not smell. Sound is real, smell is real, all are Dhammas. And then later on we learn different aspects of Dhamma, little by little.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sawadee ka, everyone.